Hey people, Indrid here. 3v3 faction war this is. SD Province and Space Marines versus Tyranids. For the blue Space Marine team is a force commander, very strong offense, fighting in melee combat, can also tank, disrupt and support, alongside Fritz as an Apothecary, support hero fighting in melee by default, begins with a heal and a passive health regeneration aura. Rounding off this team is Katla with a Techmarine, starts off in ranged combat, puts out some good damage, can also support with structures and repair. What is this scheme that's going on here? I guess it's just Raven Guard all blacked out. Is that an elite scheme maybe? Perhaps. On the red team for the Tyranids, HappyDoggo is a Lictor Alpha, a melee specialist that can infiltrate and disrupt, some powerful offense and a bit of support. Just flesh hook that poor scout to death, but they did get that node. Alongside is Cleric as a Ravener Alpha, a tunneling hero, great mobility, powerful offense and a bit of support, begins with a ranged weapon, forcing off that Apothecary early, and rounding off the teams, the Tenso as a Hive Tyrant, a durable hero, lethal objects cannot be suppressed with powerful offense, disruption and support, begins in melee with a basic synapse. I shall call you Alejandro. Alejandro marching through the mid, but they are on the east side by default, I believe. Space Marines in full retreat pretty much. Oh, we got some shotgun scouts back here with some tactical Marines, but here comes Alejandro. Almost called you Alfredo there, buddy. Alfredo can be the next one. Are they all running? There's more shotguns. Apothecary shows up. Might want to get that sanguine chainsword and some vials or something, because you're going to get swarmed a lot early on against triple Tyranids. Hive Tyrant can get that improved synapse, of course, goes for the VP. Maybe Cleric can run some interference. There we go, kills a scout. On the west side, it's red for Tyranids. Contested victory point there. Natural power being decapped by the Lictor Alpha, who can get a power melee weapon in tier 1. Flesh hooks another scout to death. Run some interference here. These guys are you're after that node. Okay, they are going to get a triple cap early on. The Tyranids, such early power and pressure from the Tyranid armies, as you would expect. Space Marines will come out swinging though in like mid tier 2 once they start getting their power cost units up. Katla with a master crafted bolter on the way. Good DPS and a high powered shot for control with suppression. And the Apothecary does go for vials and the sanguine chainsword. Force Commander goes power sword here for an improved battle quiet and also power melee damage. Warrior Brood on the way for HappyDoggo. They're not going to like the power sword. Devastator's up for ShaFex soon. So early investment into war gear for all of these Space Marine heroes. We'll see how that pays off, because they're giving up perhaps Assault Marines a bit earlier and Devastators and stuff to get that stuff online. Tunnel was taken out. Tactical Marines flee. They're going to do a higher powered shot before you run. Kills a Termagant and then flees. How much damage is that again? Doesn't tell me on that tooltip. It's quite a lot. Over 100, I think. Someone in the comments might know, or they can look it up or something. Apothecary level 2, getting that heal on hits from the sanguine chainsword, then gets flesh hook though. Hits the retreat and goes down. That is the Toxin Miasma from the Lictor Alpha. Not a power melee weapon, but does damage over time and it debuffs you on hit. Quite nasty, as you can see. Battle Crying Force Commander with the power sword. Takes it up to 15% buff per special attack. You see that yellow circle around him. Up from 10%. So you can get a 45% damage buff around you if you can get 3 attacks off, which isn't that hard, especially if you're facing a melee unit that's coming at you. More Hormagaunt Brood for HappyDoggo. They lost their Hormagaunts. Over here, I guess. Space Marines pushing back on the power with the Flamer. This is ShaFex. This is a very important push. Great timing here to have the Flamer up. You can get so much work done as Space Marines if you can just time that Flamer. And time that power push, because they can bash power so quickly with just a single squad. Bionics up for the Techmarine. Some anti-melee powerful sweep. Also gives you more health regen and some melee damage, which isn't that relevant for Katla since they have their gun. But they can still do some power armored elbows in there. Double tax here for Fritz, using their Kraken bolts because it looks pretty, doesn't actually do anything against heroes, only heavy infantry, such as these warriors who have a barbed strangler for cleric. HappyDoggos also with a Barb Strangler on the west side. Scouts getting caught in a bad spot and they go down. I'm pretty sure, yeah, those guys had shotguns too. Those were Fritz. I wonder if they will replace crippling poison on the Apothecary. They still get the heal on bolt pistol here. Not quite as much as a melee attack. There's the vials. I think they were live to it. They were constantly moving there, trying not to get caught by it. And of course you can tell because this guy has the grenade decorator above their icon. Lictor Alpha has found some tactical marines. Good work there by the Apothecary. Helped to kill a couple of warrior brood fellas, I think. Here comes Katla from the east side. Setting up a grenade with a high-powered shot. Couldn't quite get a great hit though. They retreated pretty quickly. Those shotguns are painful though for the little termagants. Here comes Gormagaunts. Oh, and they couldn't use a shotgun blast because they're out of energy. But there's a powerful sweep. That was pretty damn effective. If they had some tax here, they might have been able to finish those guys off in melee. Scouts doing a lot of good work there. Didn't drop a model too. Techmarine is into level 2. Might get suppressed by the Barb Strangler while Ravener just comes into melee him. There's that suppression. Wait, did it suppress him? Didn't seem to suppress him. There we go. Now the Techmarine's suppressed. Here comes an Apothecary now, almost level 3. Doing some good brawling whenever he shows up. Hasn't really hit a great purification of vials yet, I don't think. Anything else for the Force Commander? Nope. They've got some more tax up. Did they drop them in? I don't see a drop pod, but I am rather blind. Oops, says Tenso. Not sure what they did. Oh, maybe they retreated these guys by accident. Maybe. Tax backing off here. Don't want to get caught by that suppression because then Hormagaunts can get in. Ravener's got some really good melee weapons, but he's also got a superb ranged weapon in Tier 2. It's typically what you'll see them use in a 3v3 game. The Corrosive Devourer. Insane plasma DPS, and you can turn on a anti-vehicle mode, corrosive shots. It's expensive, but it's a hell of a weapon. East side. Tactical Marines in melee with the Ravener Brood. It's not going well for him. Losing a model. Alejandro in melee with the Techmarine. Lots of stuff was shooting at him though, and he had to run. No war gear on the Hive Tyrant. They are tier 2 though, and they do have a zone thrope already. Kind of a psychic artillery unit that has some support. A health regen synapse, as you can see here. And the area of effect shot it uses does not affect allies, which is quite nice. It's much shorter range than other tier 2 artillery pieces though. Might get a good shot here. There we go. Look at that damage to those tactical marines. Pretty nice. Got another good shot there. Oh, Ravener Brood have their melee upgrade, Enhanced Muscle Coil. Now a big threat to those marines. Big threat. You can get on you in a flash with the Burrow Strike and their Speedier. Yeah, those tax are in big trouble. Katla just forgot about them, I think. Oh, I only dropped one model. The Raveners actually dropped a model. That actually worked out decently well for Katla. I mean, dropping a marine isn't great, but I feel like that could have been way worse. A decent vial throw. Termagants don't seem... There we go, now they run. Almost whacked them out. Genestealer Brood on the field for Cleric. Melee superiority unit can tear through marines very easily. Those power melee talons, tons of DPS and tons of melee skill as well. And there is the Corrosive Devourer. Almost 44 plasma DPS. And remember, this number is with a level 1 Ravener Alpha. They're getting more damage as they level up. And the corrosive shots, of course. Over on the west side, it's turning blue for that Force Commander, and they're going for that Power Bash. Can they get one in? They might get flanked here, though, by Cleric. Looks like Cleric wants to shoot down this Force Commander. Ravener's doing a tunnel. If the Ravener just shot him, they might have killed that Force Commander there. There's the tunnel. Are they getting Power Bash, though? Nope, they backed off. Tyranids will take back the west side. They have a decent VP lead. Tier 3 for HappyDoggo. Apothecary's level 3. Needs to protect the power here. They do have some backup from ShaFex's Marines. Force Commander needs to heal up for a bit, though. Apothecary immediately runs from the Flesh Hook, and those Genestealers did get the vial off, and another grenade goes in. They did some good work. Gene Stealers in amongst the Marines, not where you want them. As a Marine player, they have that heal on hit, and they can pop Adrenal Rush to get even more of a heal on hit, more damage, more speed, everything like that. I think that's what it's called, Adrenal Rush. I mean, that's what I call it, and nobody corrects me. Gene Stealers need to be careful not to overcommit. They're not invulnerable. And they don't have the melee synapse support either at the moment. Down goes the Fool's Commander. Just tried to hold them up, maybe knowing that they could get easily revived from here. They weren't that bothered about getting away. Powerbash. Sneaky shotgun scouts get a good shotgun blast in. Warrior Brood backing off. Here comes a Dreadnought for ShaFex, and that thing will crush the Gene Stealers pretty nicely. Crush pretty much everything. Not much anti-vehicle around, aside from the Ravener Alpha's corrosive shots. They're Tenso with a Tyrant Guard. These guys are made more expensive in 299, both out of the HQ and from the global bar of the Hive Tyrant. Tactical Marines here with their Sergeant. Dreadnought is up. Another Dreadnought on the way for Fritz. I wonder if they'll both stay in melee for now. Plasma Cannon up for Katla. Power is okay. Not sure. Yeah, it looks like that gen was just replaced, so they did bash there. Full gens elsewhere. 2-to-1 cap for the Tyranids. Backing off. Able to back off here, Cleric. It's always great when you can push, do damage, and then back away cleanly, and not overextend and get forced off, because then you lose ground. Puts the Tyranids in a much better position here. Although they're facing a Dreadnought here, with not a lot they can do about it, so I'm not sure how great of a position it's going to be. Ripper Swarm sent in. Barb Stranglers trying to get some suppression going. There's the Vials. And they killed a Warrior Brood there, so there was a Synapse Backlash also. Dreadnought just goes charging in. Not literally, you need a Venerable Dreadnought for a charge, but he goes wading in there. There you see the corrosive shots doing work, but Ravener Alpha can't stay there forever. We get another. Oh, we got an Assault Cannon Dreadnought here for Fritz. Massive single target piercing DPS, so anti-infantry damage. And there's a barrage too. I believe they changed the barrage slightly. I think they changed the range of it or the damage of it or something. Has been adjusted a few times over the years. Tier 3 for Cleric. HappyDoggo. Tons of resources. Not sure exactly what they're waiting for. A Swarm Lord, I guess. Are they still 200 power Swarm Lords? They are, bloody hell. It's expensive. Tyrant Guard doing its thing. Lots of super heavy infantry armor hit points. And it's got heavy melee damage, so it'll cleave through everything with a splash. Look at the damage it's doing there to those Devastators. They are going to wipe. Melter Gun Techmarine now. Melter doing extra damage against super heavy infantry armor. So it's doing some great work. Missile launcher also getting shots in. Flame attack's not as helpful. Can it charge away here? It cannot. Tyrant Guard goes down. Applied some pressure for sure. Killed Devastators. And usually they're used as like a stopgap to get to tier 3. Just a big lump of hit points. And then you use it to delay and harass to get your tier 3 rolling. And we see Tenso has gone tier 3 Cleric with a Venom Brood on the way to get some anti-vehicle rolling out. HappyDoggo slowed themselves down quite considerably to get this Swarm Lord going. We'll see if it pays off, because they're getting kind of wrecked by this Dreadnought over here, and they haven't really done much against it. And they get on the power. They do have their attacks here. One of the attacks has Plasma Gun. One of them with, oh, no weapon. The Flamer guys. Oh, did they replace the Flamer with a Plasma Gun? Maybe that's what they did. Gene Stealers now have their Rending Claws for heavy melee damage, so they're a big threat to the Dreadnought. They do, of course, need to get close to it first. And the Assault Cannon says no. Mastercrafted Bolter back now for the Techmarine. You can switch between weapons you've purchased as a hero. Takes 20 seconds, I believe. There used to be a slight oddity many years ago, before Elite Mod, I think it was, where the War Boss could switch war gear faster than any other hero. Just relic things. I'm not sure. can't remember if that was fixed by a relic or if it was fixed by elite mod. It was so long. Swarm Lords on the field. Tier 3s for ShaFex and for Katla. Ravener Brood getting stuck in here. These are the melee variants, of course. Termagants trying to outshoot scouts. And they're doing okay. The scouts out of cover there. The Tenso's Ravener Brood does get away. They only have 2 units on the field, though, the Tenso. And Alejandro himself is down. Or itself, I should say. Carnifex come in, though, for the Tenso. What is this? Big push with the Swarm Lord from HappyDoggo. 2,000 hit points of vehicle armor on this guy. Powerful melee combatant. And buffs nearby Tyranids with a synapse to increase their speed and allow them to reinforce off it. Also, this thing has a self-heal called Leech Essence, which drains health from nearby enemy infantry. Too far away from this infantry to use it, pretty much, but gets away to tons of las cannon hits. They might have been buffed by For the Emperor there from the Force Commander too. Didn't pay attention. Down goes the Lictor Alpha, the Dreadnought taking it out. Does have Dark Age of technology. Some nice buffs to health and more inspiration buffs. Or higher inspiration buffs. Dreadnought with a barrage into an orbital. I guess they didn't spot it, they didn't move. That might wipe that Venom Brood there. I think they wiped already. Is that friendly fire? That missile seemed to hit the Dreadnought there. Tyranids got torn up. Cleric down to a single unit. Now has a Carnifex coming. The Tenso has a Carnifex up. Going for Venom Cannon. And Carnifex on the way for HappyDoggo. These Dreadnoughts have been superb. This one's quite low. Bioplasma, that's a good hit. Can they get it? Can't quite get it. Dreadnought survives. No, it doesn't. I think we saw Blessing of the Omnissiah active there from the Techmarine. Or is it Blessing of the Machine Spirit? I say Omnissiah. I think in the patch notes they put Machine Spirit, so maybe they're right. Crushing Claws on the field for the Hive Tyrant. There is a Tyranno formation. I mean, it dispersed things, if nothing else. Provides some buffs to nearby Tyranids who get close for a duration as well. Made a bunch of stuff back the hell away. And we got 3 Carnifexes on the field and a Swarm Lord, which has healed up slightly. It can use Leech Essence maybe in the next big fight. We also saw, you may have spotted, Advanced Healing active on the Apothecary. Have that improved medical equipment and the customized Stormbolter. You can use this to shut down an enemy hero with full auto, which is awesome. They can maybe use it on the Lictor Alpha before they get flesh hooked, ideally. Pretty sure it'll have longer range than Flesh Hook. Flesh Hook's been nerfed so many times over the years. Pales in comparison to what it used to be. Used to have more damage, more range, and more puller strength as well. Melter Gun being swapped back into by the Techmarine. They were trying to use Bioplasma on the tank that was backing up there, but it stopped backing up. Tank is stuck, I think. Techmarine can repair, of course, the scouts can repair. Has extra armor. We'll now get some of those repairs. Doesn't seem like the Carnifex wants to chase. On the west side, though, what's going on? Force Commander's going to get got. Maybe? How's he alive? There we go. Oh, we've got some Assault Terminators. Didn't even notice you fellas. They are going after the Swarm Lord with those heavy melee Thunderhammers. The Swarm Lord will have melee resistance, but that's a lot of DPS still. Swarm Lord's trying to get away. Has already used Leech Essence, I assume, because energy's low. Is that a Thornback, I guess? It is indeed a Thornback Carnifex. 73 to 354. The Space Marines don't have a lot of VPs to play with here. Neurothrope on the field now for the Tenso. Awesome tool to have against groups of heavy and super heavy infantry, which is most of the Space Marine roster. What is this? That is the Tenso in blue. And there's that Neurothrope back there. Spore Mine explosions going off. There's Spirit Leech to drain energy from the Techmarine, which depowers that shield. And there is Paroxysm. Slows down enemies and does percentage-based damage over time. Extra versus heavy and super heavy because it's psychic attack. Those guys did have and they show no fear active, so they were able to tank it quite well there actually. Orbital messed up those Raveners really a lot. Are they going to die? Looks like they may be going to die. No. 2 hit points, they get away. Neurothrope's backing up to a... I was going to say dodgy location. It needs to be going more north, surely. These are both plasma attacks. Yeah, this is a big retreat. I think it's smart. Just get that Neurothrope out of there. It doesn't have a lot of hit points on a single entity at this point in the game. What is it, 750? Yeah, 750 can go down so quick, especially since it can't level up. Force Commander now with a Sacred Standard. Something being called in here. It's more Terminators this time from Fritz. Storm Bolters was hoping for a Venerable Dreadnought there. But it wasn't to be. Oh, is it to be? What is this? Oh, it's more Terminators from Katla, okay. No Venerable for a while, at least. The Space Marine's coming out swinging last couple of minutes. Getting 3 Terminator squads up. And they still have ShaFex's Dreadnought. Which is level 3 at the moment. It's taking Venom Cannon shots though. That Carnifex might need to get out of there, that Thornback. It is getting out of there. And Rippers are slowing down the Dreadnought, look. Melter Gun trying to get on the Carnifex. Those Gene Stealers need to tie up that Techmarine there. Oh, they were trying to get the missile launcher. It's a dicey spot for the Carnifex to be. Oh, did they get the Dreadnought? Oh, they got the Dreadnought. There it was. Paroxysm going in. Apothecary can counter it with advanced healing. Maybe here comes the Hive Tyrant. Alejandro wants to put those crushing claws to work. Now goes for Bonded Exoskeleton, and I think it's worth getting Psychic Scream on that. You could go for the Warp Field, of course, to make you super tanky. Well, the area of effect debuff here with the Terminators, I think, would be worth doing on Psychic Scream. It's a big blob of Marines there. Big blob. Venom Brood with a Venom Cannon. Is it worth getting Death Spitters? They can't turn those guys into Death Spitters, but they have their ranged Synapse already. There's that advanced healing. Fritz keeping that Apothecary out of range. Double a cap for the Space Marines. Can they come back into this now? I mean, they've got the firepower. They've got a big blob of Marines. They're even on the natural look. Scouts. Scouts are on it. They are pushing back the tide. Zoanthrope on the way for the Tenso. That might be to get the Symbiosis thing and help the Carnifex out. Swarmlord's still alive. Healing up at base. That's a big boon. It might be time to push the mid, fellas, for the Tyranids. That's a big load of stuff on the west side here. Zoanthrope is up. They did have another Zoanthrope before, but I guess it didn't last. You need to be careful of this kind of thing. I'm not sure you could keep scouts here, I suppose. Especially if they've got a grenade, which these guys do have for Katla. But you also want those guys pressuring the enemy VP quite a lot if you can. Force Commander flees the scary Carnifex. Just don't tell him I said that. There's a Cyclone Missile Barrage. Very effectively getting those guys off the cap. Neurothrope taking huge amounts of damage. Does get away. 44,195. Termagant still trying to prod that VP. Ravener Brood doing some decapping. Maybe they could smack down the power a bit. Tyranids back on the west side. Swarmlord coming in. There's that advanced healing. There's that Leech Essence. Healing up the Swarmlord pretty effectively there. But now they've got a missile launcher on them, and they're soon to have a Melter Gun on them. Where was that Carnifex? I don't know, here it is. charging away. Swarm Lord trying to get away as well. I think it's alright. I think it's far enough away from those missile launcher shots now. We now have a las cannon tank. Oh, Cyclone missile launcher. I think it's far enough away where it's spread out enough. Yeah, not to threaten it. Has the Carnifex given up its life though? I think it has. Wanted to run distraction to get the Swarm Lord out. Not sure if it was needed, but they went to know that. They went for it. Lots of red for HappyDoggo, so could see a nuke dropped in on this big blob of Marines. 44-173. What is this? It's those plucky termagants. Got the decap. Well done, fellas. Ravener Brood in there, and they should know no fear. Popped by the tactical Marines. Gives them powerful defensive buffs and allows them to knock you back with melee attacks. They need their sergeant for that. Paroxysm goes in. And there's Alejandro. Massively tough, massively scary. Needs to start throwing its weight around that Hive Tyrant. And there's that Genes to the Brood from Cleric. Powerful sweep, staying useful. Yeah, that really messed them up. Having to get away. They don't have their melee synapse, those guys. Hive Tyrant just goes for the cap, ready to use invulnerability if they need to, I suppose, to get this 2-to-1 here, even if it's a brief one. Carnifex needs to keep on moving. There's the invulnerability. I think it's 8 seconds, is it? Oh, 9 seconds. Bad time to use a grenade, fellas, when he's invulnerable. Got the cap, gets it. There's the nuke from HappyDoggo. It's a good nuke, nothing really to follow it up, and down goes Alejandro. But gives him a 2-to-1 for a decent amount of time. Classic Space Marine Death Ball, yes it is. Cleric with a Neurothrope on the way. There's the decap, got down to 35. But Space Marines might get a triple here. There's an orbital on the VP. How do you stop the Death Ball? I think more Death Spitters would have been good. The Neurothropes were a good choice. No, and Stranglethorn Cannon Carnifexes maybe to suppress the blob of Marines. It's tough though. It is tough. Lictor Alpha's been down for a while. I think the Terrify thing, Menacing Visage, is it? Would have been good just to get a Marine squad to run away. Maybe with a deadly jump in there as well. Uh-oh, Neurothrope. Looks like it's not going to retreat through the death. Termies everywhere, yes indeed. It is the Space Marine way. Neurothrope back off. Yeah, Cleric's been heavily depleted for like 10 minutes now, it feels like. And it's really made it difficult. You got to keep the pressure up. It's very difficult to do, but you got to keep the pressure up, which means keep a core of units alive at least. There's a triple cap for the Space Marines. Looks like that's going to be GG. No way they can get to the contested in time, I think. Can they get their natural back? Maybe one last push. Big retreat there for Fritz. Advanced healing did so much work here. Level 10 Apothecary. Didn't actually notice them using full auto, but I'm sure they've used it loads of times. They might have been using it very selectively to save energy for advanced healing. There's the double cap for Space Marines now. Oh, a turret up. Las cannon as well. That's the Ravener Alpha going for the cap, but couldn't quite get it done. Another orbital. We've seen a bunch of them. Guess that's what happens when you kill a load of Tyranids. You get a bunch of red. It was those Dreadnoughts. The Dreadnought play was superb. The double Dreadnoughts coming out did a lot, because then they were forced with, hey, do we delay our tier 3s to get anti-vehicle for these guys, or do we power through to tier 3 and get pushed back and battered in tier 2? HappyDoggo's choice to go for the Swarm Lord, I'm not sure if it paid off. It probably felt like a great idea because they saw, hey, there's Dreadnoughts up. I can I can get ahead in tech and get a Swarm Lord. Maybe if they get Carnifex instead, because that would have come out. If they got a Carnifex, it probably would have come out like a full minute earlier. With a Stranglethorn or something. To mess with the infantry. Hard fought battle. Level 8 Force Commander here for ShaFex. Level 10 Apothecary. That Techmarine also level 10. Had the Refractor Field at the end. Level 3 Lictor Alpha. Level 3 Ravener Alpha. And level 4 Hive Tyrant. There you go. Guys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Big thanks to these players for playing us a faction war. And of course the Tenso for getting this replay to me. I'll see you guys next time.